YouTube. Is that okay? Is it okay for us to do a public live? Because I've been having all kind of trouble with setting my live to public for some reason. I believe it is now though. Okay. So, what's up, guys? It's none other than your boy JGiddins, the father. I'm coming to you guys live this morning on both Instagram and YouTube. So I want to first off say good morning to everybody. Please, as usual, remember to be positive, optimistic, and keep positive people in your circle, as those three things are key to ensuring positivity is invited in your future, right? So I just decided to do a live real quick because one, I think I'm going to be going live every day, at least for the next maybe 2 weeks, because it's leading up to something that I'll let you guys know a little bit more about shortly, which is the full custody trial, or the custody trial that I have coming up, in which me and my lawyer will be seeking full custody um, to resolve the issue with my children that are having some issues right now. But anyways, the main reason I wanted to come to you guys today and talk to you was because I've had a couple people, not a lot of people, but I've had people here and there hit me up and say um, good things, positive things to me about my abilities as a father. They've complimented me and just told me that they think it's a good thing what I'm doing, and to keep up the good work. And a lot of times people ask me, like, they may not ask me, but they say it in a way where it's inquisitive. It's like they're inquiring about something. They want to know what leads to, I guess, the fatherhood that I display, and especially amongst the Black community. And really, I think that talking about it is healthy for us. I think that it's something that we should do to sort of help this movement grow in terms of Black lives mattering, as well as Black fathers mattering. Right now, one of the things that I wanted to mention, when I talk about fatherhood and talk about who, what's up, boss? One of the things that I wanted to talk about when we speak on um, fathers being activated, right? So when we think about the Black Lives Matter movement that we got going on right now, this movement is causing a lot of people to be activated, right? What's happening is people who never thought of, owning a gun, legally, right? Legally. But people who never thought of owning a gun and carrying it while they're out and about are now doing that. People who didn't think of going out and being political and protesting or voting, didn't believe in any of these things, are now stepping up and doing that. So what I really want people to realize is that there's a point, especially as a father, as a man, us Black men, we have to really focus on this. It's a point where you become activated, right? And when I say activated, I mean, like, if you're a real father, if you're a real parent, some moms might be able to, relate to what I'm saying. There's a moment where, like things trigger in your mind and you start to see life differently because you're a parent. If that never happened to you, then you are deactivated as a parent. So a lot of these fathers, when there's things that happen with their kids, there's whether for a good example, a kid needs to be picked up from school early because they hurt themselves in school, right? If you call some fathers and say that to them, they don't directly identify with the urgency of that, because it's not urgent to them, because they have not been activated. The same way, if you speak to some Black people and you tell them, who Robert Fuller is. If y'all don't know who Robert Fuller is, look him up. And Malcolm Harsh. There was two guys that was hung in the last month or two since this all started. But if you were to talk to some people and tell them, yo, you know who Robert Fuller is? He was hung. They might go, oh, yeah, that's crazy, and keep it moving, right? But they ain't gonna do much more because they're not activated. They don't really feel that personal connection to what happened. And a lot of times that's what's happening with fathers. They're not activated. My point of activation was the birth of my oldest daughter, Journey, who's 10 years old. She was born 9/109, September 1st, 09, right? When she was born, I remember standing in University Hospital and holding her in my arms like this. Like, and I remember looking in her eyes, and I just could not stop crying because I'm a man of science. I'm a man that believes in, like, like the adverse things of the world. You know what I mean? Science and all of these things. And I said science twice, right? But my whole point is I believe in, like, I'm spiritual. I believe in things happening around us that's beyond our imagination. And to think that a being, a person, like Journey, a baby was made out of me, you know what I mean? I think that activated me when I saw this thing, and I thought to myself, this is what my creator wanted for me. You know what I mean? Because I'm spiritual, and I believe that everything happens for a reason. So when I saw my child, and I thought about the fact that, I've seen semen when it's not inside of a woman and processing, and I look at that and I'm like, wow, like, just thinking about when you come to terms with the fact that a liquid substance can be transformed into a person. Like, I felt a certain level of, like, cockiness, like, about me, you know what I mean? And it shot my confidence through the roof, like, because I just felt like, some people describe it as a king, a black king, whatever you want to call it, but it made me feel the value in me, for me to be able to create something. It made me feel what women feel when they have a baby. I feel like because women physically are more attached to the pregnancy process of giving birth, that they get that activation a lot quicker. You know what I mean? It's easier to get an activation when you're sitting there for 12 hours in labor and pushing the baby out, carried it for 9 months and everything. Like, you're gonna have that activation sooner because it's yours. It's coming out of you. You're seeing it. For a man, sometimes we just dump the product off and keep it moving. You know what I mean? We don't hear about it until later. Sometimes it's not, until the mom decides to tell you and all that kind of stuff. So our activation has to be triggered, and it has to be something that we, like, focus on as a group. The same way we trying to sit here and police our own communities. We trying to, we got militias like INFAC and, sleepers for the rich gang and all, gun club, I'm sorry, and all of that. We need to have those in place for fathers. You know what I mean? Like, fathers need to be taught what their value is. And we need to dismiss a lot of the lies and a lot of the negative, like, aura that's out there around fathers, because that's making the issue perpetuate. It's keeping it going. The fact that, like, when I was growing up as a young boy, you know what I mean, ages, I would say maybe like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I remember several days of me being in the house with my aunties and everything, whoever house I'm at, and they all sitting at the table talking about how niggas ain't shit, how men ain't shit, how, that's a different story. I don't mean relationships. Fathers ain't shit. How the dad don't matter. The dad this, the dad that. He better come get these kids. He don't ever want to get blah blah blah. So seeing and hearing that growing up, I automatically felt like fathers come second. It was just in my nature to think that way. Like, and that's what I mean about changing our society and changing how we look at things. It's really normalized for a father to come second right now in the black community. Like, that shit makes no sense. Like, it's normal. Like, to the point where some fathers just accept it. And if you even try to have a conversation with them about being more than a second class parent, they don't understand it. And a lot of them, they want to fight back. It's kind of like you're deprogramming them, or you're trying to deprogram them. It's similar to when you're, trying to make somebody who's racist not racist anymore, or you're trying to make somebody who strongly believes in a cause that they've been taught since they was younger not believe in it anymore. And when that happens, sometimes you're gonna get pushback. Sometimes, they're gonna get angry, want to fight, which are the same things that you might run into when talking to some fathers. Believe it or not, there's a couple black father groups that I'm involved in on Facebook. I've actually gotten into arguments with fathers in the midst of trying to explain to them and convince them of their own worth and value. Like, there was a guy who was complaining about how his baby mama got him on child support and he don't get to see the kid and all this stuff. And he hates child support because all it's doing is taking his money and he can't see the kids. And I'm like, so why don't you go get your kids? Like, why don't you go file a petition for custody and get the kids? Oh man, you don't understand. It ain't like that. I don't understand. It ain't like that. How silly does that sound? These are your kids. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like when we have to weed out those who need help with understanding the value of a father and what it is, and those who understand that value but are being discriminated and treated differently. That's the group that I fall into. So anybody with a brain that knows me knows that I'm a good father. It's not because like I'm this super special guy or anything like that. It's just because my morals are aligned, and I'm a spiritual person who believes that my consequence is going to be one above human nature. Like, I don't believe that anybody on this earth can punish me for what I'm going to do that's going to be wrong. Number one, because I can hide it from you and you won't know. Granted, I don't do that because I just don't. I don't care to, the lying thing. But because I have the ability to lie and hide stuff like everybody else does, it makes me feel, it makes my brain supersede humanity when it thinks about being punished and consequential things. And I think about the fact that I'm gonna have to explain to my creator at the gates one day every decision I made. When I think of heaven and going to heaven, what comes to mind for me is me standing at a gate with an entity in front of me, a God, a creator, and my entire life playing in front of them, unfolding, and them going, now tell me why you did this. Now explain to me why you did this. And I don't, me personally, I don't do things that I don't feel that I could properly answer that question to. Right. So regardless of what I do, I don't move in a way where I don't feel like when I get to the gates and I have to explain it to my creator, I can make it make sense to my creator. Right. I won't disrespect them by referring to them as a he or her, or because I don't know that that's what they even want to identify as. I don't, that's why I don't believe in religion. I'm not going to, no. So, but I will say my creator, I believe, is going to hold me to the fire. And I think the same thing for everybody. I think if we felt that way and we felt more like we're being judged by our creator rather than by other people, then maybe we could go somewhere. You know what I mean? And I just want to take a second to attribute a little bit of time to the NFAC too, and sleep is for the rich. Sleep is for the Rich is a black militia in Louisville. Guy came down to, it's in Shreveport. I think it's in Shreveport, Louisiana. Or is it Shreveport, Louisiana? I feel like it is. But they came down and had their AK-47s, pistols, everything. They were armed. Came down to defend um, innocent, black women primarily who were being accosted and attacked, or they weren't being attacked physically, but they were being attacked verbally and whatever other kind of lead that doesn't involve touching somebody. Look, at the end of the day, they were there and they were causing a presence that made people feel intimidated. So what they did was they showed up and said, "We're not having this." They showed up and said they've pretty much made the same statement that INFAC is making, the Not Fucking Around Coalition, the Not Effing Around Coalition. If you're not familiar with that, look up Grandmaster Jay. He is the leader of INFAC. If you are a black person and you are against INFAC, let me rephrase this. If you are a person and you are against INFAC, I question your loyalty to the black community. I honestly do. Like, because INFAC is doing nothing but assuring that those who would seek to cause extreme detriment to the black community understand that there's going to be some repercussions for you doing that, right? The crazy thing is people are looking at this all wrong. They're like, look, they just showed up. People could have shot at them, whatever, blah, blah, blah. You got to understand what they're doing is they're making it clear. It's like what they're doing. Let me give a metaphorical comparison because it's a lot of times easier to explain things metaphorically. What the INFAC is doing right now, and what they did by showing up at Stone Mountain in that group, if you look them up, you can find it. It's circulating everywhere. What they're doing is essentially what happens when, let's say, you're a guy, you're dating a girl, and then like you go over to our house, you meet our family members, and like her uncles come over to you, and her uncles just kind of look at you like, "Hey, what's up, man? I see you dating my niece." Yeah, okay, yeah, that's cool. Well, just make sure my niece happy, all right? Now, at the end of the day, when they leave, he could beat the niece, he could do whatever he wants to the niece, but he know when uncle find out what he did to that niece, there's going to be some repercussions, right? In fact, it's the uncle. If you don't get that, you're looking at this wrong. And we really need to wake up. We really need to wake up because they need us. They need us to back them. They need us to help them help us. And if you don't want to help them help us, whether it be by sending your body there physically to be a body to do it, or sharing their videos, explaining to other people what it means, just getting people involved in it. If you're not willing to do any of those things, you know what I mean? Then, like I said, I question your loyalty to the black race. You know what I mean? And there's a woman named Jane Elliott. I just want to talk about for a quick second. Jane Elliott is one of the. She's an intellect, and I love intellects. People who think essentially. And she did an experiment called the blue eyes brown eyes experiment, I think it was. But she's a master on race relations, right? An expert of race relations and understanding the things that we're going through with racism in the country and in the world. And she was talking about how racism, she was talking about how, how we think about, it's a little deep. I want to make sure I explain it properly. You know how we think of racist people, right? So we think of blacks and whites, and we think some of the whites are just confused because they think that whites are more superior than blacks. And the problem is we need to help them understand that we're equal, right? So that's what the general premise is that most people have when they think about racism and resolving it, right? But what I think she is saying is the fact that believing that we're all different races in general is what the issue is, right? She was speaking from a perspective of saying that since the beginning of time, like back in the long time ago's days, she was saying that back during that time, those who sought to control others and have power during a time when we truly were equal had to divide us, and they had to create a way for us to Stormy. Stop. Sorry guys, my cat is a jerk. We had to I love it though. We had to they had to figure out a way to divide us and cause us all to sort of separate and think of ourselves differently. Race is how they did that, right? This is Jane Elliott's theory, or what she was explaining. And that is that they essentially taught us that having a different color of skin, which is essentially just a difference of pigmentation or melanin, is something that makes us all different, when really there is only one race, and that is the human race. If you think about how deep that is, like imagine if we all, the same way you look at you go to the cookout and you see all the black people at the cookout, you're like, oh, this is my cookout. All the white people, they in their ballroom with all their white people, oh, this is ballroom. We were all together and we were just people at one point, right? And everybody's equal and everybody's happy and everything. If you're a person who wants to control people and sit back and just kind of manipulate what's happening and control the world. I mean, believe it or not, there are people like Trump, unfortunately, who want to control the world. Like they actually have this, the villain in the movie. Yes, I'm going to take over the world. Like there's people who really feel like that. And those people back in the older days use race as a means to do that. So, or not even race, they created race. And because we're not even the colors of these races, if you understand that, like my skin, I'm a black person, African American, but my skin is not black. Nobody's skin is black. Like honestly, nobody's skin is black. Like the bottom of this shoe black. Like the power cord from my laptop black. Like nobody's skin is literally this color. But we call ourselves black. Where did that come from? Right? No white person's skin is white. No white person is going to put on a beater and you can't tell the difference between their skin and the beater because it just all flushes out in this one color. Nobody's going to do that. So at the end of the day, to me, in my mindset, it gave credence to her thought process behind the fact that there are no races. There is no black race or white race. There's just a human race. And I think that that's even a step bigger. I mean, I think that this Black Lives Matter movement is sort of kind of lending credibility to her theory because everybody around the world is coming together and saying that Black Lives Matter. You know what I mean? Everybody around the world is willing right now to tear down statues, to what's up, Ja? You know what I mean? Everybody around the world is willing to get on one accord and understand that race doesn't necessarily have to be something that we even consider when looking at another person. You know what I mean? Like when we're looking at a person, we don't have to even consider their race. And I think that's a marvelous thing. Yeah, guys, look, that's the primary thing that I wanted to talk about today. Yeah. What I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start another live, and I'm gonna do one because I want to speak a little bit more about my personal situation as it relates to fatherhood. I wanted to talk about fatherhood as it relates to the Black Lives Matter movement or Black Fathers Matter, I think, movement, which is also kind of taking place as a subdivision underneath the Black Lives Matter division. Because same as police brutality is a part of the entire umbrella of Black Lives Matter, uh, Black Fathers Matter is as well, right? Because police brutality, some could even argue that the lack of Black fathers in our community is a bigger issue than police brutality. I mean, it's arguable. It's arguable because the effects and remnants of the things that are done to fathers are not as uh, aesthetic. They're not as easily seen. It's not like you can just turn on the TV and hear, oh, these 3 kids were killed because they didn't have a father. These 4 kids were killed because they didn't have a father. Nobody, it's not articulated in a way that would help you understand that them not having a father led to their death. And I think that is the reason why not having a father or our Black communities being fatherless is not understood to be a huge issue, at least on the level of police brutality and such. So I don't know. At this point, I'm gonna go ahead and start another live, guys. I love you guys, everybody who stopped through, said hey, who might be watching this later because I'm gonna put it up later. Regardless of what you're doing, I really appreciate you guys' support. If you stuck through this whole video, thank you so much. It's your boy JGiddins. Feel free to provide support to me for this content and these types of things by going to patreon.com/JGiddins. Again, that's patreon.com/JGiddins. And that's a page I created for people to be able to, contribute $1, $2, whatever you want to give to be able to help me continue to do these things and fight the good fight that I'm fighting for fatherhood. And also for my children, you know what I mean? Real quick, October, I keep saying October. Real quick, July 22nd, I have a trial date coming up. It's a custody trial for my little girls. You guys make sure to, keep your eyes and ears open to me, my pages and such, hashtags like JGiddins, hashtags JGiddins kids, JGiddins the father. I always hashtag all that stuff. And just stay privy to what's going on because I think that this is gonna be a deciding factor of where my children's lives go and how they turn out. It really will, and if they're there to turn out, sadly. All right. Again, my final goodbye for real this time. It's your boy JGiddins out. Be positive, optimistic, and keep positive people in your circle. They can't stand it when you look this good. God damn it. All right, guys. Same thing to y'all. I'm sorry, I exited my Instagram, but not this one. Love you guys. Be positive, optimistic, keep positive people in your circle. JGiddins out, baby.